Opportunity doesn't wait. In the dusty outskirts of Karachi, where the sun rose early and the work never seemed to end, lived a laborer named Rafiq. For the world, he was just another man carrying bricks on his shoulders. But for himself, he carried dreams far heavier than any load he lifted. Every morning at 5 a.m., he walked to the construction site. His hands were rough, his clothes worn out, and his body tired. But his eyes still held a spark. Rafiq earned just enough to survive. He had no education, no connections, no big opportunities, only a dream. One day, I will change my life, somehow. But dreams alone don't change destiny. Action does. One day, as Rafiq entered the construction site, he saw something unusual. A group of engineers and investors had arrived to inspect a new project. Everyone else continued working, but Rafiq stood there for a moment, observing them with curiosity. He whispered to himself, "People like them get opportunities. People like us just watch." But then he shook his head. No, opportunity doesn't wait. It passes, unless you grab it. At that moment, he made a decision to take one small step outside his comfort zone. Rafiq approached the senior engineer politely and said, "Sir, I want to learn. I may be a laborer, but I can work harder than anyone. If you give me even a small chance, I will prove myself." The engineer looked at him surprised. No laborer had ever asked for an opportunity before. Most just wanted to do their wage and go home. The engineer asked, "Do you know anything about measurements?" Rafiq shook his head. "No, sir, but I can learn." The engineer thought for a moment, then handed him a measuring tape. "Learn this. If you succeed, I'll teach you more." Rafiq didn't sleep that night. He practiced with that measuring tape for hours, measuring walls, bricks, doors, even his own room. A week later, the engineer tested him. To everyone's surprise, Rafiq did every measurement perfectly. The engineer smiled. "You learned this in 1 week?" "Yes, sir. Opportunity doesn't wait, and neither do I." From that day onward, Rafiq was no longer just a laborer. He became an assistant, learning construction layouts, safety rules, and site planning. The other workers laughed at him. "Why are you working extra? You're still one of us." Rafiq replied, "Today I'm one of you, but tomorrow I won't be, because I'm not waiting for luck, I'm chasing opportunity." Months passed. Rafiq learned with a hunger that shocked everyone. He volunteered for overtime, not for money, but for knowledge. He asked questions, watched tutorials on a borrowed phone, and practiced late into the night. Slowly, he climbed up the ranks. Laborer, assistant, supervisor, site planner. People started recognizing him, not for his muscles, but for his mind. 2 years later, the same investors returned. This time, the engineer proudly introduced Rafiq. "This is the most hard-working man on our team. He used to be a laborer, but today he handles planning better than many educated workers." The investors were impressed. They offered Rafiq a position in their new project, with triple the salary. But the story doesn't end there. With his savings, Rafiq started a small construction service. Within 5 years, he was running his own team, the same kind of team he once worked under. The lesson. One day, a young laborer approached him and asked, "Sir, how did you become such a big contractor?" Rafiq smiled and said, "Because opportunity doesn't wait for those who sleep. It comes quietly, and if you don't take the first step, it leaves quietly. I grabbed it when no one else did." You don't need wealth. You don't need education. You don't need perfect conditions. You need only one thing: the courage to take the first step. Because opportunity doesn't wait, but it always rewards those who chase it.